You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Horns Down Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by for another episode of the Horns Down Podcast. As everybody comes in here, consider giving us a like, subscribe, give us a little subscription, hit that button or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Sharing the content, doing all that stuff. And of course, y'all see who I got with me today. I got Jay with me to preview the Sooners versus Iowa State Cyclones matchup. So weird to say their whole little mascot name. But regardless, though, Jay, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and talk about some of the content that you just dropped. I think, last night? Some of the videos, check all that stuff out.
Yeah, y'all know to find me. Jay Smith, Unfair Sports. Y'all know I basically live here too with Kchris. This is my third home because I'm either here or at Around the Table. But you can find me on YouTube as well as wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. Also, we had a fun interview with Daniel Collier as well as Nigel Smith, two defensive line commits for the Sooners for the 2024 class. It was an awesome time. They popped up. We talked ball. We laughed, we joked, we cried. It was all that beautiful stuff. So, yeah, man, check it out. Kchris, let's go ahead and talk about this game, man. I'm pretty excited.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. What's up, Kim? What's up, Sooners Cowboys? Stephen G. We got the usuals coming in. So, as we start off, Jay, I want to start with this, all right? So, earlier this week, what I did, I went back and watched the Iowa State game from last year, and obviously, I watched most of the Iowa State v. Oklahoma State game last week. And last year, pretty much, I want to talk about the differences between the games, or difference between Iowa State. Let's put it like this right here. I want to talk about our game with Iowa State versus what I'm seeing from them currently. So, obviously, first thing. A lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy play on the part of the Sooners on offense. It was very when I watched the game from us last year, it looked like how we looked basically against SMU and or Cincinnati. It was a lot left out there. There's a lot left on the field. You were moving the ball at times. Probably should have. It was a game that you should have hung at least 30 or so on them, but it was still one of our better games that we played.
Right.
Special teams was big, and hopefully special teams could be big again, especially in the punt game. But last year, man, offensively from them, you saw them just really play straight up, and they just took advantage of our mistakes. I know the announcers were saying that, well, they got him one time on that. No, they got Stutzman an awful lot on that little slant to the that little slant and then the lay route coming over the middle. That middle was wide open. They were also, obviously, they were going to use their tight ends, different things like that. They were able to move the ball on us, and they were definitely competitive at times, but we were really running a true 3-3-5 last year, opposed to this year with the weapons that we have on defense. To me, watching them this year, it's kind of offensively, it's really weird to watch them because their offense isn't necessarily gadgety, as I like to use that word a lot, but it's definitely a lot more going on in that scheme this year as far as dressing things up, as far as motioning a lot of guys. It's not necessarily just them lining up and feeling like they have better players or players on your level that they've coached up. It's a lot that they're doing, man. They're trying to get guys open. They're trying to scheme guys open. And I mean, obviously, you're going to have to do that with as much as they have lost or as much as they don't have because of the whole gambling, matter that happened earlier this summer. If you don't know about that, a bunch of Iowa and Iowa State players were both caught up in some type of Fonzie scheme is what I guess we can call it. But regardless, Jay, that's kind of my observation from them. Defensively, they're still pretty much the same, not as talented up front as they've been in the past, in my opinion. I think the secondary is probably the strength, and that's simply because it's by numbers. They have, they're dropping 3 guys back, but there's still a lot of holes. There's still a lot of yards to be made. The thing is that Oklahoma State, unfortunately, as good as I think Bowman can be, he's still the same quarterback that he was when he was a sophomore before he got injured against us. But he was able to find guys open. It's just, man, they were just so inconsistent on offense. I'm talking about Oklahoma State. But, Jay, I'll give you the floor and just ask you, what do you think about – what are your thoughts kind of going from last year towards this game?
I guess us as a team last year, the bigger thing is we were still trying to figure out, fully, honestly, our full identity. We weren't sure who we were. We were still trying to figure out what players, honestly, were going to stick around. And you could tell by the way the team was playing. They were still, trying to figure out everything. And we finally figured that part out. Once we got it down packed, that's when you started to notice that we were playing a lot better. We lost a lot of games. They were all close battles. 6 one-score games we lost, and I think 5 of them were 3 points or less. So we had a lot of opportunity. We left a lot of meat on the bone last season, and then coming into this year, the thing you notice the most is the defense's urgency. We actually have an urgency on defense, and I'm trying to remember who was I talking to, but actually I was talking to, I forgot who it was. I'm sorry, brain fart, but one of the things that was mentioned to me was that the best thing about Oklahoma's defense is it looks like they're playing like they're going to lose their jobs. You know what I mean? Like the defenders are playing like I need to do as good as possible so I don't get pulled from the game. And it's not really a fear. It's more of a I don't want to disappoint. And you start to notice that urgency in their play. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, heck yeah. That's probably the best way to state it. This team is playing like they care about winning on the defensive side of the ball. Last week in offense, one of the things that threw me off mainly was was honestly, it felt like offensively we were doing a little bit more experimenting than we should have. That fumble by Dylan Gabriel was, of course, annoying, but at the same time, mistakes going to happen. As long as it doesn't happen where we lose the game, I'm cool with just letting it slide later on after I let it settle. Because you're going to have them. You can't play a perfect game. It's impossible to pitch a perfect game. But as our Jacob mentioned there, our defense looks vastly improved, and similar to what Texas did in the move from 5-7 in Sark's first year to the year 2, going 8-4. You start to notice the growth from the players, and that's what we're seeing now. Stutzman is going to be definitely a Buckets Award finalist because he's playing out of his mind, barring injury. He stays healthy. He's going to do that. So we're looking like we are ready to play against a team like Iowa State. Now, Iowa State piece of it is going to be interesting because I'm curious to see what Rocco does in this game. I remember, I think it's Beck is his last name. Yeah. Rocco is going to be fascinating because he was, like you said, he was thrusted into this because Hunter Deckard was part of all of the gambling fiasco. And so now my curiosity is, how are they going to play him? Right now, they're averaging 300 yards a game, which ain't really good for what they're trying to do. They don't have Breece Hall, so you ain't got the run game that you're used to. So Matt Campbell's going to have to lean on an inexperienced redshirt freshman quarterback that looks okay at moments and no run game. And their offensive line is bad. They grade so bad. It's bad. I anticipate us really just overpowering them this game as they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do, honestly, going into next season since they lost so many kids.
Yeah. Hey, folks, I got to give a special shout out to this guy, our Jacob Woodyard. He's a Texas fan. He's coming in here right now in behind enemy lines. I'm fine with that. We're going to get to Texas a little. We're going to get to Texas a little bit later. But with that being said, Jay, this is how should I say this right? To me, Cincinnati was the first test. Okay, that was the first test that we had in class, right?
Yes.
SMU was a pop quiz. This is that was the first test. This right here is yet again another pop quiz. And the reason why I say that is because you have to be mature enough to handle this. They're going to throw the
Yes.
kitchen sink at you. This is a team that's not going to go out there and hold anything back. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and they're going to be ready for you. This
Yep.
is a game where if you want to establish the run, establish the run. If you want to pass it, throw it all over the place, there are going to be a lot of opportunities. You have to go out there and execute. It's all about execution and being consistent this week. That is all it's about. Okay.
Yep.
For me, and like I said, each week has been about look, the national narrative, the Texas fans are all gonna say, has OU played anybody? Has OU did this? No, I don't care. For me, it's all about have we improved from last year? Are we able to get in those Are we being put in those same situations we were last year? And are we, how should I say this? Have we improved to the point where that's not going to be a problem? The Cincinnati game, you've heard it from just about every other Sooner podcast out there. You heard it from Gabe and Iker. You heard it from a lot of people. This was a game that midway through the second quarter, you felt like, yeah, I know that it's taking us a while to kind of get charged up on offense. I don't feel like we're losing this game. These are games.
It felt like they were experimenting. It really felt like we were experimenting the entire time.
Yeah. Stephen G says, since he had the best D line that we faced all year, you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I think Corleone and Juwan Briggs are the best tandem we're going to see this season. Texas defensive line is really good too, but I don't think they're Corleone and Briggs.
No, I think that was a great matchup.
But I agree with that one, R. Jacob, on that. There's an argument as far as the edges go that Texas can, but D tackle, Corleone's the best. Dude's a monster, and it's funny how good he was playing while at the same time how like he was kind of out of the play at the same time. It's just wild to think about, but he's talented.
You had opportunities all over the field, man. There were a lot of times where you're like, man, Dylan, let that thing go, man. Let it go, because there are guys that are open. If you went back and watched the game, I watched the full game. I watched Mr. McIntosh's highlights, and I just felt coming out of that game, I felt confident knowing that, hey, we've improved in these situations. We can go get it however we want. But when things get tight, we're not going to crumble like we did last year.
Exactly. And that's what's most important, is not folding under pressure like we would normally do. That's the thing that's critical.
Yeah. I mean, and remind me, I don't think that they have McDonald anymore out there, or those linebackers and some of those, that front seven that they had with Iowa State.
They ain't got nothing on the defense like they used to have. Now, their defensive line isn't bad. I was listening to Gabe and Teddy talk about that on the Oklahoma Breakdown. And defensively, they've still got some stout players, but they don't have any names like Will McDonald like we're used to.
Yeah,
they're still trying to establish themselves on defensive side. And you got Heacock still calling the plays. There's still going to be a challenge, but it ain't like we're used to it. I would say they ain't the same. Yeah. Now, granted, they are only giving up 292 yards per game. So,
well,
it ain't bad.
Last year's game, you go back and watch that game, guys were open down the field, man. It's just we were so hesitant to throw it. We were reluctant to throw it. And
we're going to this year, though.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, they may have still been in the 3-3-5 look, but they gave a lot of cover one type coverages, man.
Oh, yeah.
They did a lot where they were trying to be aggressive and press and be up there. And to be honest with you, you know who got loose that game last year? Farouk.
Ooh. Yeah, that's fair.
Farouk had a hell of a game last year. He was all over the place offensively. Defensively, they tried to test our corners. Washington, Woody wasn't having that. So, I mean, I don't know. I think this year, it's going to be hard to take advantage of the linebackers. I know that Venable style is blitzing a lot, and bringing pressure with the linebackers. This is one of those games where I think you can get away with that. I really do. I think that you trust your guys to get to be able to go into those cover zero looks where you're blitzing just basically everybody from every angle. So I'm eager to see what we do. But I mean, to me, I think their quarterback, honestly, I think he's on the same level as I I wouldn't necessarily say same level, but let's say he's a poor man's version of Stone from SMU, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see him being a poor man's version, but I mean, Preston Stone still had threw a beautiful ball. The biggest thing with Preston was that their line just wasn't there.
Yeah.
But they also, I mean, they gave up all kinds of money to Oklahoma State. That game, I mean, they beat Oklahoma State, of course, but they also let them get 27 points, and they shouldn't have. That's to me tells me their defense is questionable. And as long as you put enough pressure on their QB, their run game ain't there. I don't know if Rocco's gonna be able to handle the pressure we'll be able to put on him.
And that's something I was also gonna say. Bowman and Rocco, if that's his last name, Bowman and Rocco were both, huh?
Yeah, Beckett. I think it's Becht.
Yeah.
Rocco Becht.
So Becht,
we'll go with that.
Yeah, Becht and Bowman were both running out of pocket an awful lot. They were throwing a lot of difficult throws down the field. And you know the crazy thing is, they still connecting on them.
They were hitting them boys in stride.
They were hitting them boys in stride, and they were running for their life out of the pocket, man. They were having to move. Those pockets were collapsing an awful lot. And these are not quarterbacks that are necessarily going to try to tuck it and run it. These are quarterbacks that are going to sit there and still try to make a pass if they can. So I think it bodes well for us, quite honestly. They don't have an Xavier Hutchinson on offense. They don't have guys like that. But this is a team. This is a Matt Campbell team. Regardless of how you feel about Matt Campbell, I'll tell you this right here. He is to be respected. He's a hell of a coach. Each program that he's been at, he's won. You can't even say that he inherited good players. Nope. Who the hell was high on Brock Purdy whenever Matt Campbell got there? Let's be honest, man. Let's be real.
Keep it a buck. No, not too many were, and then Brock Purdy went out there and lit everybody up.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of give him props on that one.
Let's see. Mike Wilkerson says, just a theory. I'm thinking Sark and BV are playing Red River rivalry chess, seeing who's going to expose part of their hand first. I feel Sark will show more against KU than OU against Iowa State. Just a theory. No, I do. I think that there's merit in that argument.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to. Like Kansas State's a legitimate team.
Yeah.
Like we can't pretend like pretend like Kansas ain't legit. They are. I think Jalen Daniels might be the best quarterback in the conference.
Yeah.
When he's healthy. That's the problem. He ain't healthy.
I think that because Sark was able to, and this is just my theory, okay? In that Bama game, I'm talking offensively only, not defense, okay? Offensively speaking, I feel as though Sark basically put down his script after a while. And even some plays that he had probably circled for later on in the game, I feel like he put that down and said, you know what? They got these two freshmen back there who are extreme. They got freshmen back there who in that secondary who are extremely talented. Mm-hmm. Love these guys, but they're freshmen and they are biting on these things. And you can, in my opinion, I think that's a point where I would give to Sark. It seems like he may have matured a bit in his play calling, at least in the second half or as the game goes on. He was able just to exploit them on simple RPO reads, to be honest with you. Let's just be quite frank. They bite on the RPO, ball's going over their head. Let's just be real.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. It's with this one, Texas is going to have to play more of their hand in order to win this game. Yeah. Because defensively, Kansas is actually legit too. It's weird, man. And I think they still got Kobe Bryant, so he's healthy for a change. Their problem is health. If they ever survived attrition, they'd be fine. They'd probably be a much better team. But, they're coming in this game at 4-0 too. So, as you mentioned, and the theory here that Mike pointed out is that Sark's going to have to show more because this ain't your granddaddy's Kansas squad. On top of that, Kansas, they ball. They play hard. They play real hard. And Texas is going to have to take them on. I know that we're going to take Kansas seriously when we go up to Lawrence. Like that's the team, if anybody, that scares me. With Texas, they're terrifying. They're gonna have to be prepared because and you kind of said this you said this in the green room, and I think it's 100% true, man. Kansas might be the toughest team that Texas is gonna face before they play us.
Yeah.
Because I think Kansas is a little bit tougher than
And
Bama.
it's not even that they're dressing up a lot of stuff. When Kansas is dressing up stuff, there's two routes to me. I think there's two options that Jaden Daniels, hell, even Bean has to pick from.
Yeah.
And it's going to be some type of go or some type of post route coming out of that bunch formation that they want to find, or it's going to be that safety valve when they have a guy doing a out route. It looks like a Z spot to me. It's pretty much a bunch formation that they're trying to get to. They're overloading a side, which a lot of teams do. Cincinnati does it. They try to do it to us, but it didn't work. But they basically overload that side. Because I've watched Kansas games. Hell, it's the only game that was really on these first few Fridays, right, of college football. And
True.
So you're watching them against Illinois. You're watching them against BYU, and they're doing it an awful lot. It's not that they're trying to dress up a lot of stuff. They're getting you mixed up because now they're bringing this guy over, and there's two routes that's coming off of that. It's either going to be a post, a deep post, a skinny post, or it's going to be pretty much a go route. And then off of that, they got an out route coming out of there. They got a safety valve for him. And then for me, going towards that Texas KU game, I think Neal's a hell of a running back, man. They got two backs back there. They got two backs at Kansas that are pretty good. If they find light of day, they could be going. They're fast.
Yeah, I was looking at that before we start talking about it. That was the one thing that honestly jumped out to me about Kansas and kind of made me a little nervous about their play is that they are kind of multidimensional. Neal is averaging 6.9 yards per carry, roughly 7 yards per carry, and almost 100 yards a game, while they're still leaning on Jalen Daniels. So there's multiple pieces to them. They're going to be a fun game to watch. Like that's one of the games I'm excited about seeing this weekend because there's a nice list of games to watch. That's one of those that I'm like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
I think Jay cut out a little.
Uh-oh. There we go.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm pretty excited to see it.
But we'll touch back on that game here in a little bit. Let's get back to this Iowa State preview. So I would ask, Jay, what are some things that you are looking for in this game?
Two things that I'm really looking for out of Oklahoma in this one, and I give you two things for Iowa State. Two things for Oklahoma: establishing the run. That's the thing that I'm the most curious about. Who's going to be the running back that's going to step up and take the plate? We got 4, which is a good problem to have, while at the same time we don't have anybody that's truly just established that they should be number one, which is a problem that we have. We've got to get somebody to say, nah, this is me. I'm going to own this. I'm going to be the back. Because there's so many differences, I guess you could say, when it comes to our backs and the way that they play. So somebody needs to take it. That's one. 2, the second thing really is, can this defensive line get more pressure against a team with a really bad O-line? That's going to be where I'm curious about. How many sacks can we get? Can we force Rocco to hold the ball because we are covering so well and that he ended up getting lit up on a regular basis? Can we get another Perion Winfrey hit in this game? Is the next question. Can we get somebody to come through and lock and level them? So that's what I'm looking for Oklahoma. For Iowa State, honestly, one, I want to see what their secondary looks like. If Oklahoma tests their secondary, will their secondary bend and not break, or will they just immediately break? That's the one thing. And 2, will they be able to get pressure on the quarterback? Because with the run game trying to still be figured out, I don't think they'll be that concerned about it. But I know that they're going to their hardest to put as much pressure on Dylan Gabriel as possible. And so, can we protect Dylan from their line, and can we make those corners break? And so the question is, can Iowa State's secondary bend and not break in this game?
Yeah. For me, I'd also say I'm looking for a running back to emerge this week. With that 3-3-5, I think you're going to be able to. I think that we should be able to have a decent day running the ball. I'm sorry, still not the biggest fan. And he had a decent game last week, Marcus Majors.
He did.
But for me, if you're not going to play 2-27, we got to be out there. I'm just going to say it now. I mean, I feel like this is a game where hopefully you can see get some snaps in there for Sawchuk, get some snaps in there for Barnes. Hopefully you can do that because I would love to see those two guys get going, especially the week before the big game. But the next thing I'm looking for is obviously just execution. Dylan, hey, if you're watching this podcast, if you see this podcast, if you catch wind of this podcast, Jay is a huge fan of yours, man. Jay has battled me he's went toe to toe with me about you. Yep. But all I gotta say is this right here. I just need you to execute this week.
I'm a DG apologist. Now I'll admit to it.
I feel like you're more efficient this year.
Yeah. He's different.
Execute on those plays when you're throwing it to a 6'5" wide receiver in the end zone, and give the guy a chance, okay? And also, man, don't be hesitant, man. Let that thing fly, man. You're a really good quarterback. You know, be honest with you. I think that it's not necessarily even DG, and it's not necessarily that we've had Kyler, Baker, Hurts, Caleb for a year. It's not even that. It's just a simple fact of I know what Landry Jones did here at OU, and even though he's the all-time passer in OU history, that's great and all. But let's be real, there's no championships up there.
He wasn't winning games for you on his own. Yeah,
no,
and that's fair.
And so that's kind of my problem with DG. But I'm hoping for yet another boost to his silent but deadly Heisman campaign.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think it's the thing that I appreciate the most about the way DG is playing. And yes, Thunder, OU Sooner. I am spreading out Legos and stuff to keep my brain going. I've had one of them days at work that I have to completely decompress myself before I choke somebody out in the world. But anyway, no, for DG on it, just overall, you're right. I mean, we've seen what Landry Jones has done. We saw what Nate Hibble did. We saw the yards he was able to put up. We've seen quarterbacks drop numbers and stuff at Oklahoma while at the same time not do the things that you need in order to win these games, right?
Yeah.
For DG to keep himself in those good graces with me as an apologist, I just need him to go out there and be as efficient as possible and calm down those overthrows, because everybody says you got a noodle arm while at the same time they say he got a noodle arm while at the same time he overthrows everybody deep. So it's one of the two. I don't know. I just need him to continue to keep throwing at that 78% clip and minimize in that what's that 22% incompletion percentage portion of it. Just less overthrows. Just make sure that like throwing away passes because you got to, or a batted down pass deep that's only the receiver could catch or is out of bounds. I need more of that stuff, and I think I'll be all right. I won't lose my mind at that point. I guess you could say.
I would say the last thing that I am looking for in this game is just consistency on defense. Yet another week. I need Danny Stutzman to keep building on his Buckets campaign. I need another Cincinnati week. I wish we could play Cincinnati every week so I could see Jared Kanick look the way that he did.
Jesus Christ, Kanick was all over the place. That was his best game this season.
Best game that he's played as a Sooner.
Yes, hands down.
Yes.
Hands down.
And I know a lot of people say that there's not a lot of them, but hey, look, yes. Give me that Kanick. Also, I need another. You know what? I gave him a C simply because of that wheel route that he missed because he got caught looking. But I think Deshaun McCullough is good at that. I think it's kind of a.
He's good at that cheetah. He's good at that cheetah.
Good at the cheetah, but damn, I thought he was faster than that.
So you're not wrong when you say that. I think he is fast enough. I think he gets caught flat-footed. And that's something I think that BV and them are working with him on. You know, that's the thing that we've got to make sure he's ready for, especially against Texas.
Yeah.
Can't get caught flat-footed.
Yeah.
And that's where he's thrown off. It's like his acceleration isn't there. He's fast. He's just saying at the acceleration if he gets caught flat-footed. And you look at me like, dang, dog, you should have been moving. You should have been in motion. If you was in motion, you had it. But
because I can tell you now, they're gonna. I have a feeling that Sark is going, because one of Sark's little cream and butter plays is what I like to call him, cream and butter plays. He likes to run that. What's that? That little fake. It's like what is it? It's a bubble screen for Brooks, but what you call it is basically faking a bootleg. Ewers is faking a bootleg to the left side, and then he automatically turns around, throws it to Brooks, and it's a screen the other way.
Yeah.
And they use him on wheel routes and different things like that. Which
is smart. I mean, the running back, their running backs can catch. That's the thing I get. They got backs that can catch. Him and CJ Baxter.
All right, Jacob, you'll like this. As much of a certified bum as he is, he's a scat back. I'll give him that. He's a scat back. He's a scat back. That's a little taste for you of what's to come next week.
Little hater. Already trying to start fights.
Little,
but that's funny. But no, I do think that that's the thing that McCullough's got to do is just not get caught with his feet on the ground like that. And if he does that, I think he'll be fine long term.
Said Koenig still needs to learn pad level so he doesn't cough up a lung.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah,
I mean, luckily he's healthy and he'll be back this week. Looks like I think he was actually talking about it on Podcast on the Prairie, his injury or whatnot. And so yeah, it was a little scary, but of course everybody's joking on it down. Like, oh, he's good. So.
So speaking of that, the last thing we'll do before we close out this topic is simply this right here. What's the injury report this week? Who are we going to see back in the lineup? Who are we not?
I anticipate injury wise. I see Koenig should make his return. We may see a little bit more Kip, just to make sure that Koenig gets himself good and healthy going into the more important game.
Yeah,
I do think that. I wonder if Savion Byrd comes back. That's the one I'm curious about. I haven't seen any real reports on him. He probably should be back. Same thing with Reggie Pearson. So we should see Reggie rotate in a little bit more too. Okay. Key was out there cooking. So he's probably going to get the start.
Can you please just give me some good news for just tell me that Harrington is back, please.
I wouldn't anticipate seeing Harrington at all this year.
Okay. Next time we do a pod together, I need you to just tell me, even if it's a lie. Just tell me.
Just lie to you that Harrington will be back.
Make it feel good, bro.
All right. I'll lie to you. I'll lie to you this week. Harrington will be on the sideline in pads.
Okay, that's all I can hope for.
Go for it.
What about R. Mason Thomas?
Oh, that's a good question. I know that he's been dinged up a little bit over the last few weeks, so. There's a good chance that he'll probably get some snaps. I mean, it's Iowa State, so there's no reason that we don't see some R. Mason a little bit. We don't see a lot. We go deeper into the depth chart in this game. Now, Brennan is asked the question. I know Brennan had that ankle. I haven't seen anything about him making his valiant return, so we just cross our fingers that he does show up.
You talking about Thompson?
Yeah.
I could have swore that I saw him in pads at the Cincy game.
You might have. That's a good question.
I could have swore that I did. It was a very brief moment on camera. You have to actually watch like the full game. But yeah, I don't know. Let's say, can Harrington get a medical red shirt? That's the hope. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking you should do. Get him a medical red shirt, have him come back, be ready for SEC play, because he would be a big boost to this defense in the SEC, and especially in that first year.
That would be nice. That would be something I would advocate for. Now the question is, will he be able to get that? Luckily he did get hurt early in the season, so. He hasn't played 4 games. There's a good chance, but yeah, I hope not.
So, With that being said, people, we're going to close this topic out. We're just going to simply ask the chat and ask everybody else. Ask you, Jay. Score prediction, man. Go ahead.
All right, man. Prediction for us versus Iowa State. I'm going to go ahead and put my nuts out there on this one. I think we put up at least 45, and I think we hold them to 3 points.
Who was that put somebody earlier in the chat? I'm trying to look for it. Somebody put it was 56-3, I think.
Yeah, it was 56-3, and that was I remember seeing it too. I was like, wow, that's a 52-3, I think.
Stephen G 42-3. All right, Jacob Woodward 49-20. Them getting 20 points. That's crazy. I could see it. 56-19. Hank 34-13. Jimmy. Hank come back over here and say 56-10. 42-6. 56-10. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say we have a couple of lapses on offense, and I'm going to say we win this game 48-13.
It's not bad.
Not bad. 30-3, Thunder OU. I can't see them getting a touchdown. I really can't either. I really can't see them getting a touchdown.
I can't see them scoring, man. I can't see it. The way this defense is playing, we're playing with urgency, and it doesn't feel like we're going to give up a touchdown to them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it.
I
may be wrong, but it's what it feels like. We're not giving up a touchdown in this game.
Say garbage points. BV plays backups early. That is true. That is
fair
true.
Point. That's fair.
That is true.
I'm not. You're not wrong.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at what I've seen thus far. I see the effort out there. That's all I got to say.
That's all that matters, man. Something that I don't think we felt like we had last year was actual effort like that. There's an urgency to this defense that I appreciate. And kind of like R. Jacob said, similar to what Texas had last season, you could tell there was an urgency. People cared. And all we got to do is keep doing the same thing. Now, I think, and I kind of like, R. Jacob, you're right, too, about Anthony. Anthony has top-end speed, but he does not have Petaway or Brendan Thompson track speed. You are 100% correct. But I think he is fast enough to be a big-time threat to everybody. So, yeah. I agree. I agree with you there. We get Brennan out there, and we get it to where, DG can just, fake the handoff, do a play action, immediately launch that bad boy, and he just runs underneath it. Yeah, we could. We should be able to. We should see some special stuff out of Brennan. We just got to get him healthy. Same thing, and get Petaway up to speed with the offense. I think that would be so much fun to see in the way that we're playing, personally.
All right. So let's keep it moving on. Let's talk a little recruiting. Sooners lose out on what 4, 5. A top athlete in the country in Terry Bussey.
4 or 5 star. He's a 5-star. I think he's a 5-star. He might be a plus.
Jay, go ahead and just after you figure that out, go ahead and tell the people what did we really lose out? Is this a big loss? Was it expected? Was it surprising? What are your final thoughts about it?
Oh, it was zero surprise that we didn't get him. I anticipate he was going to go to A&M, and I'm gonna be honest, based upon the reports that I was hearing, he's a consensus, a composite 5-star, roughly top 20 player in the country, athlete, monster of an athlete, just in general. But it was anticipated he was going to end up going to the NIL. Like it was going to be an NIL situation. He has a very heart-wrenching life circumstance story, and kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. Now, it'd have been nice to try to win him because, dude, he's a beast. I mean, statistically, this dude put up 2,100 yards and 26 touchdowns while completing 64% of his passes, and then ran for 2,500 yards, almost 2,600 yards, 46 touchdowns, and averaging 14 yards a carry. Oh, he also tallied 115 tackles and 5 interceptions and returning 4 of them to the house. Yeah, that's.
You're just like in awe of the numbers, man.
Yeah, the numbers are stupid. Are stupid. His capabilities are stupid, and so what I'm hearing is that he's what I read. I think it was Wiltfong mentioned this, that he's very much interested in being a playing corner. He wants to be like Travis Hunter is. He wants to be a dual, play on both sides of the ball. And so,
hey, Texas A&M fits that mold. You can do just about anything you want to do there.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderland running the offense, anyways.
Exactly, they need it. So you can put him at quarterback too. I mean, technically, he's that good. He could do that. And so,
Mr. Rabbit and Alice in Wonderland, you got them both over there.
Right. And I honestly hope for the best for him because with his life story is
it's crazy.
It hurt. It's hard, man. His mom passed. He was living with his sister. His sister was killed, and so now he's like living couch surfing. And he needs money to take care of his younger siblings, and he's got to figure that out. And so, yeah, I hope he goes out there and balls out, man.
Now, okay, so two things. R. Jacob Woodward said, he thought he was an Aggie all the way. I think we've all pretty much heard that. Mike Wilkerson and Soonish Cowboy, they both are. I'm sick of losing recruits to A&M. I think everybody is because you see the train wreck that's going on down there, man.
Everybody's tired of it, but man, money talks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest with certain recruits, if they're only NIL based, you may not even want them on your team anyway. Like I would love a player like Bussy, but I understand his circumstance, so he's gonna have to go to the highest bidder. So that's different. And a lot of these other ones, they're playing the game, and it's just like, you recruit your problems. A wise man once said, and sometimes you just don't want to recruit certain problems if you don't have to.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, R. Jacob. That's the thing I heard the entire time. It was always the Aggies, and nobody actually had a chance. And so, there's a lot of speculation that there was drama, and there was a little worry, and it was like, nah, just we know where he's gonna go. Like, why are we building this up when we know the circumstance and the way everything looks? Why play the game?
All right. So, anything else on the recruiting trail that you want to add, my friend?
I mean, this weekend is going to be a big one for not only Oklahoma but also Texas. Man, a lot of recruits are going to be at both games.
I hate that we're playing at 6:00, but when you think about the recruiting,
that's the best. That's the best time to play.
It's the best time to play.
Midday to the evening is the best for recruits, especially watching games at night is always fun. Like that's probably the best in the recruiting world is being able to do that because it gives them the opportunity to travel. Like if you got a kid that plays on Friday night, they can fly in Saturday morning. So yeah, Jacob, exactly. I agree. He's an amazing just kid in general, just amazing person in general. And so yeah, nothing but it. But Seton canceled his trip here. He's going to do an unofficial to Tennessee. I heard that's a big NIL situation and play with him. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not that concerned. We always put together a really good offensive line. So why would I be concerned about who Beatonbow goes after? I'm not. I've said from the beginning, I felt like 24 wasn't going to be much. It'll be more of a 25 play for us.
Yeah. And
we got a lot of linemen coming back next year. So I'm not that concerned. But we'll have Stone and Jackson on campus. Isaiah Autry will be here. So we'll have our offensive lineman out of Mississippi coming into town. I think he may bring somebody with him, someone we may be recruiting out of Mississippi. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. But so I'm not giving out names. But there's going to be a good group of players in town. A lot of them's been tweeting that they're coming. And so for us, putting together a good defensive showing while also putting a good offensive showing, it's going to be critical. You're going to have recruits in town. You may as well give them a show, right? When I talked to Okoye as well as Nigel, neither are going to make that game, but they said they plan on coming later in the season.
Yeah.
To come hang out and enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they probably paid him to come do the visit, which I've heard Tennessee does do. They'll actually pay recruits just to come visit. It's weird, but at the same time, whatever. West Coast
smoke.
I haven't heard anything real. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I haven't heard the name fly up on social media, but I've nothing that I believe. It's one of those I'll believe it when I see it. Just the exact same thing I heard about Smoke about Bussy with LSU as well as Oklahoma outside of A&M. I said I'll believe it when I see it. He's an Aggie till he ain't. West Coast, Clemson Tiger till he ain't. Keep it real.
All right, Steven. I mean, not Steve. I said Steven.
I know, right? You're going to fight Steven already. I know you've been charging yourself up in preparation to duke it out.
Jay, I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to have to do this.
Don't you dare do it.
Let's go ahead.
No.
Let's give a full Kansas and Texas preview. But before we get to that, I want to just say, hey, to everybody in here, thank you for coming by. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, trying to get those followers up, all the rest of that stuff. But hey, definitely big shout out to everybody that's always in here. But with that being said, I haven't done this in a while, guys. This is kind of OG Horns Down podcast. Welcome to Chris's Corner. I have to do it. Okay. Give me a second, guys. I didn't want to do this, but guys, what the hell is this? I can't get through a show without Nick and Steven sending me bull crap inside of my DMs. What is this?
Hey man, leave that him and Carson Beck alone, man. They out there.
What is
all
this?
Business, man. That is a military buzz.
R. Jacob Woodyard, what is this?
That is the military buzz. He is focused on the game. Y'all clowned him for his mullet. He cut it off. Now y'all clowning him because he got a haircut.
They cut that man with a 0. The entire cut through. They cut him with a 0. What is this? Is he going? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Y'all calling him Quintavious and this and that. I call him Quint. That is trash. That is trash. Whoever cut his haircut, they need to be slapped and forced to wear that same haircut. What is this?
Why are you doing this, man?
What is this?
Why? Leave that man alone. He out here living his life, man. He's just trying to, be a good, Texas Longhorn. That's all he's trying to do.
I just don't get it. Like, what is this? I can't defend this, man.
I mean, it's not much to defend, but you gotta leave the man alone. He's out there doing what he does best, man.
This is crazy, man.
That's just why. What's wild to me is that you over here talking Quintavious.
I'm just saying, man.
He called him Quintavious. That's good.
I just lose it. I don't get it, man. I'm
done with y'all. Leave that man alone. Let that man have his ball fade. Be happy.
He been hanging around Worthy way too much, and we already know. How you gonna trust Worthy with your haircut and he can't even catch your passes? You can't even trust him to catch a deep ball. What are you doing?
What are we doing here?
What
you're right. That's kind of the questionable piece there. But at the same time, man, let that man be free. Let him live his life.
That minute could do anything he want. He got 2 rings to show it. You know what I'm saying? Quintavious, because y'all like to call him Mullet Boy, he can't do that. No.
Yeah. You're right. You are 100% right, R. Jacob. That is 100% the Stetson Bennett effect. That he's got a lot of people, mediocre players. I'm not saying Quinn is. I'm saying he's got a lot of what?
I like that. You look like a Texas A&M male cheerleader.
I can see that.
Weston Sloan said it's faded too high. That's all I'm saying. Somebody should have put a mirror in front of him and said, "Hey man, that ain't it.
It's too high and tight." And he thought being more high and tight was going to get people off his back. And unfortunately, when you go too high and tight, we about to clown you.
No, the South Lake quarterback, man, can't get the job done on or off the field. I don't know. But in closing of this Kansas game, man, it's going to be a hell of a game, in my opinion. I think excited. You could see a lot of points from both sides. What it's going to boil down to is
who wants it more? Who wants it more?
Who wants it more? And can Texas establish the run to a point where they're wearing on that defensive line? Because I really think that you can attack that secondary. That's the weakness, but you have to get to that level. You can't let them play inspired football. And for goodness sake, I'm just going to say this right here. There is no reason for Kobe Bryant on that team to be coming off of a damn cat blitz or wherever he was coming from and hitting a guy like that and getting the fumble. That man weighs 2 pounds with a wet shirt on. I'm just saying. Hell of a talent.
Hey man, Sauce Gardner was like that too, dog, but he went out there and started balling. So I'm just saying, get man a little bit of respect out in these streets. Just a little bit.
I'm just saying, man. There's no reason for that. But I think it's gonna be a hell of a game. I think we'll be all right. Man.
That's the game I'm gonna be watching. I'll be watching that. I'll be watching I'll be watching that game. I'm definitely watching because that's the afternoon kick, isn't it?
What's the spread on that game?
Right now, the spread is still set with Texas 16.5.
16 and a half?
Mm-hmm.
You
Texas
think
6.5
that's just because
favorite at the
they're at
crib.
home?
Yeah, because at the crib. It's 2:30 at ABC, man. It's gonna be a fun one. I'll be home at that point. I'll be on my couch. I'll probably have some wings delivered. I'm just gonna be sitting there drinking a cold one, watching that game.
Look like Coach Hayes, little Timmy. That's funny.
Y'all leave that man alone. Let him have his ball, whatever that is.
Bro, I ain't even gonna lie.
High and tight.
I ain't gonna lie. When Ty take off his hat, I bet he got that type of haircut.
I don't think he's that high and tight, but
I ain't gonna lie. There was a point in time. You saw it in the group chat, but there was a point in time I did shows with Ty for about a year and a half. I had never seen him without a hat. I thought he was bald. I thought he was bald.
I can see that. That's funny.
It's like I had
That's
never
hilarious.
seen that man take a hat and not do a show with a hat. He took his hat off one time and then he leaned down and I was like, I knew it. I knew he was bald. And then he took his hat. About a year later, he had hair and I was like, oh, I was definitely wrong.
It's kind of like Nick Wright over there at on FS1. He had no hair and then all of a sudden he got this long flowing hair and everybody's like, where the hell did this come from? He get implants? It's like, no, he can just grow his hair. He just never does.
Here's a question for you. I put this in Ty's chat the other day. I think it got to him. I could see him a little bit. He was defensive about it. I made a joke and I said, hey, Ty, honestly, maybe Saban should have hired Petrino.
Wow. That sounds like an awful idea.
I don't know if it's awful because you know why? He basically made Lamar. Hey, don't get mad at me.
You're not
don't
wrong.
Get mad at me. Don't get
You didn't
mad
have to say
at
it.
me. Don't get mad at me.
You're not wrong because that was the thing too, and then shout out to Lamar's mom on that one because that was like the stipulation they put in there was like, we're not coming here to play nobody's wide receiver. We playing quarterback and that's it. And he's like, all right, well, we're gonna make this offense and you're gonna make it run, and he did. It's a pro style offense that was built to allow him to be able to use both his skill sets. So you're not wrong. You may not need to say it, but you ain't wrong.
See, I think I just got my uncle sent me this thing saying that I guess Reggie Pearson is still a little bit questionable.
Yeah, I think Pearson is.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him suited up though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he actually ended up playing. I know that he was dealing with a stinger because he likes to level people, and that kind of happens when you have people that hit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like, man.
So who you got in this game in Kansas, Texas?
Kansas, Texas. I'm riding with Texas. Should be able to win this game. I think Kansas covers the spread though. I don't think Texas overlooks them though. I don't think Texas is that stupid.
Yeah.
But I do think that Kansas is going to be a formidable opponent. I think we're going to have a problem with them too. I think that they'll potentially cover the spread against us.
Yeah.
So I think they cover the spread, but I think Texas wins it.
All right. Let's just look at a couple of other games around the country. Hey man, I think a sneaky good game at 11 a.m. It's going to be that Clemson-Syracuse game. Syracuse
is real good. Syracuse undefeated.
And Syracuse at home always gives Clemson problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's like their kryptonite. They don't pull off the wins. That's usually their kryptonite over the last couple of years. Team when they travel there, it's been a problem for them. Even at their highest, they're a problem on the road. So yeah, I can see that.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about. I'm about to mess with. I'm about to.
You laughing?
I couldn't believe that Skip put that out, but I'm gonna talk about Black America's team. So
this mother lover, when he said that, I was just like, this dude here.
I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. When I play Red Dead Redemption, that's my horse's name, Black America. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'm done with you. I'm done.
Anyways, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Does anybody in the group chat, if you're in the group chat and you feel Colorado is going to upset USC, let them hang right now. Jay, floor is yours. Why does Colorado win Saturday?
Why? I mean, we've seen that USC defense. This ain't Oregon. Here's the thing about it. When Oregon beat Colorado, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked they blew them out. I picked Colorado to potentially upset just to keep Cinderella story going, but I didn't think that Colorado had a realistic opportunity to do that because Oregon is a legitimate title contender. Like, their defense is legit, and Dan Lanning has been doing it. He's been building it up. This is only his second season, so now he's starting to get those players into the shape that he wants them to be. USC gave up 28 points to Arizona State. Arizona State averages 16 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I needed to know. Colorado's going to be without Shiloh Sanders as well as Travis Hunter, and they're a little dinged up on the line. But I think Shedeur, even though he holds the ball too much and he's the most hit quarterback in college football because their line is so bad, I can see Shedeur going out there and putting up some numbers on him. I can see him cooking that defense.
So Drew Pine put up numbers against that defense, and they made things interesting late in the game, but they ran out of gas. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's I think Caleb carries them to the W, but I think Colorado covers that spread this time. That's how I felt the entire time when I was thinking about this game. I was like, can they cover the spread? And I think they will.
Hank said if Colorado puts 35 on Grinch should be fired and walking home.
They're not. They're going to, but they're not going to fire.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine Lincoln Riley having to fire yet another defensive coordinator mid-season?
Yeah, he should have did. He should have did it before we got there, but
Jay, come on, Jay, you just hit my mind. I look like that's so Raven. I was like, wait, what? Yes, you were there. Yes, his ass should have never been there in the first place.
I'm just saying, man, he had options to get defensive coordinators there, and he took that dude with him. And just keeping it a buck, man. He ain't it. He's proven to all of us that he ain't it. And for some reason, Lincoln Riley keeps keeping him. So, hey, Lincoln likes what he likes, and I'm just going, Lincoln's got a type.
The only real
bad defense is the only thing that he likes.
The only real interesting thing that I want to see, and you're gonna see it. It doesn't matter, people. Deion has won already. They won one game last year. He won 3 games already.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing exactly what you expect, and I love
that 3 games away from being they're 3 games away from being bowl eligible. All he had to do was beat Arizona State, and Cal.
Technically, they're in a position to do that too. And my favorite thing is what Prime said after the Oregon game. He's like, it's a good old fashioned butt kicking. We lost. Y'all better get me now.
Yeah.
It's the last chance, and
there's a good chance. I'm interested in seeing Caleb in that environment, man.
The altitude. RJ can mention that. Yeah,
it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts, man. It's gonna be absolutely nuts out there. So.
And the altitude's going to be stupid. So the question is going to be, how does everybody handle that altitude? Oof.
And then, Jay, last game before we jump up off of here. We've been on here for an hour. Last game, got to go to it. Jay, Tennessee travels to South Carolina. South Carolina travels
to Neyland Stadium.
To Tennessee. Excuse me. The best quarterback in the SEC, Spencer Rattler. Yes, Lord. Who you got?
Tennesse's a 12-point favorite. Vols all the way. That Tennessee had their defensive line
over there at Vegas, huh? Must have been a bunch of lines at Vegas, huh?
Everybody knows this game's going to be pretty bad for your boy Rattler because that offensive line is so bad, and Tennessee actually has a really good pass rush this year. They're gonna be in his throat the whole time, and we've seen how Rattler plays when the line ain't very capable. He's actually done better. What's funny, he's done better at SC handling a bad line than he did at Oklahoma with a solid line, but not great.
Jay,
because the line here he was out there looking terrible. I mean, it's how he lost his job to a freshman.
Hey, you got something on your shirt.
That's funny.
No,
so
you got something on your shirt, bro.
I'm just saying. We've watched what Rattler did at Oklahoma with the solid line. And now we're watching what he's doing with a bad line. And like I said, he's playing pretty good for not having a bad line, but
all right.
That rush at Tennessee is gonna get him.
I went to get my trash can off the curb today, and I was like, I kept hearing this rumbling sound. I said, "The hell is that?" I opened it up. Joe Milton's in there.
He's got jokes.
Trash. Bomb.
Okay. I mean, you can keep saying that all you want.
Pedestrian.
You can say it all you want, my man. You can keep making yourself believe it. I am totally here for you to believe what you believe.
All I know is this right here. My quarterback versus your quarterback. Look, this is a future. And I'm gonna be honest with you. He's probably a day 2 guy. So Rattler is working his draft stock back up. Joe Milton, though, look, Joe Milton is Uncle Rico talking about, yeah, this is what I used to do out there. I can throw the ball a mile down the road.
I mean, you saying, you calling this okay. I mean, that's what you
a redemption story. You wouldn't understand because your boy been in college for 6 years playing like a bum. Stop playing.
Okay. I mean, you can say what you think, man. It's all right.
All right, Jacob Woodward, would I rather have Milton or DG? Would you rather have Jonathan Brooks or Bijan Robinson? It's night and day, son. You can keep that Joe Milton crap up there. I'm not doing that. Okay. What?
I take DG over Milton. I think DG is one of the more you surround him with a really good defense, DG can win you a national championship. That's what I feel like. He's one of those quarterbacks. I mean, hell, we watched Stetson Bennett do it with an elite defense. Yeah. You get him an elite defense for DG, he won't lose you games. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. That's the good thing about Dylan Gabriel. He won't lose you games unless he's not on the field. True. He won't lose you games. He may not win them, but he won't lose them. And I gotta pick my kid up.
Would you ever rather have Bevel? Now this is the question. Would you? And I hope everything went well with his knee surgery. But would I rather have Bevel or Milton?
We all know what you're going to pick. I'm going to tell you, I'm taking Joe Milton 10 times out of 10. I'm taking him 11 times out of 10. But you a hater, so you wouldn't actually be realistic in this conversation. You just going to be a hater.
Oh, man. Because it's like both of them are only good at one thing. Do I want a quarterback that can,
here you go. I gotta go get my kid.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Y'all know to find your boy. Find me on Unfair Sports, listening to this hater right here talk about how he over here going, really? Bevel over Milton? You over here pretending. That's the problem, is that you hesitated just to yeah. We'll holler at y'all, man.
There's a lot of great OU podcasts,